Piper Jaffray analyst Jon Munster, Nicole, definitely thinks so. In a new report, he says Facebook could generate $10 billion in commerce-related revenue by 2015. Jon joins us now. Let's talk about that number, $10 billion in commerce-related revenue. What is commerce-related revenue, Jon?
Well, it's basically their ability to create demand offline. So that essentially is if you see an ad on Facebook and you actually end up going buying something actually either offline or line, that would be commerce-related revenue. And so really Google is probably the best example of that, and that's kind of the benchmark that we used.
And I know you're thinking a lot about the want button, the prospects for them moving ahead with that and taking the like button to the next stage. I mean, how much does that factor into your thinking on the numbers?
I mean, that's a big piece of it. And they've tested this want button more recently with six retailers. Now they're not doing it, but there's been some reports out of the UK from their head of retailing that they're going to go full force with the want button 2013, and that definitely factors into it. You know, and you mentioned that $10 billion number. To put into perspective is that we're looking for $6.5 billion in total Facebook revenue for next week. And so if we're off by a magnitude of 4, it's still going to add 25% to Facebook's numbers. So this is a big opportunity for them.
So does this change the way that we should look at Facebook? Should we be thinking of this company less of it as an advertising company, more like an Amazon or an eBay?
Well, I think it's still going to be an advertising company for the next couple years. I think that the commerce part will slowly layer into it. We kind of think of this longer term to be 30 or 40% of the business, the commerce side of it. So it's still more than 50% will be more ad-based.
And obviously a lot of the enthusiasm in the stock that we were highlighting over the last month or so is tied to the advertising business. Now, if you go back to their last results, they generated something like $150 million from mobile-related advertising. I think that was something like 14% of the total revenue pie, and a lot of people said, wow, that's an encouraging trend. Compare that number to what you think this company is going to be able to generate going forward.
Well, you know, the run rate, as you said, was called $150 million. And after the reported September, the run rate jumped to $1.1 billion. And really, the stock didn't react as much as you would have expected because of this lockup, which is now generally, we're kind of through the more dicey part of that lockup. And so at the end of the day is that I think that they've had great traction with mobile. I think that the street that's one of the reasons why the stock is going up is these sponsored ads. And importantly, they've been really saturating your news feed with these ads. And importantly and surprisingly is the usage really hasn't been impacted, that people are somehow okay with these ads, and that's really encouraging for investors.
So you mentioned the stock lockup expirations, the prospects for stock coming onto the market as insiders potentially sell. You're saying we're done with that? There is another lockup expiration, I think, next month.
There is. You know, we still have one more. You know, the biggest piece, the biggest aspect of that happened last week, and so yes, there's a potential another, call it 15% dilution, but not near the magnitude of a 30 or 40% that was feared kind of last week. And so I think that was a big relief. And a lot of investors that I talked to before that lockup were waiting, saying they're believing more in these fundamentals, but just didn't want to get surprised by any sort of sell-off in the lockup. And I think they feel a lot better about that now.
We've got about 30 seconds left. If commerce is going to be 30% of their revenue, does Facebook need to go out and go on a buying spree? Are they going to do acquisitions, do you think?
I think they can do a lot of that with what they have. Ultimately, a lot of this commerce revenue is going to be generated by third parties basically building shopping apps within the Facebook walls. And so I think that they really don't have to do a lot of that M&A stuff. Just leave it up to the partners to do the heavy lifting for them. They'll just collect the paychecks.
Let the platform grow. All right, Jon, always appreciate your time.
Yep.
Piper Jaffray's Jon Munster joining us. Nicole,
thank you.
Back to you.